Hello. I really want to say good morning, but it is afternoon. Let's see who's able to join us today. If we don't have anyone live, just because it's been a slow summer, I kind of have a project lined up. But if we have any questions come in, I would love to do those first. So I'm just going to hang out for a little bit as you guys come in. And if I get any questions, I can go over those. Otherwise, I'll spend some time doing a little side project that I think will be fun. I think it'll be fun either for hanging out live and kind of watching, but I also think this could just be a good one to be able to come back and watch later. So this one will hopefully be a fun little to-do. I'm going to kind of prepare for that under the assumption we're going to get to work on it. Let's see, sharing my window. Okay, that's what we're going to share in a little bit. Let me remove that for now and just hang out with you guys. Okay, so give you guys a few minutes to see what's happening here. To give you kind of an idea of what I'm going to work on, if it's just me hanging out today, I pulled up Julie's husband's site. When we first did earlier this year, the February Feature Fest, and we created Baked and Branded, Julie was talking about using it for her husband's site. And I promised that we would do like a masculine version, and I haven't gotten to that. So I figured let's just see how far I can get in an hour to kind of playing with that on Baked and Branded. I didn't plan ahead of time enough. So I don't have actual access to the site. So what I did 20 minutes before this was I went through and I just created the post and page names for the site. And I'm just planning on using those and going through. Okay, I think we'll just go ahead and work on that. It's been a couple minutes. I know Laura's not joining us. She's normally our tried and true. She's busy this week. And I also spoke with Lori, I think a little bit last week, and she's been very busy with appointments. So for now, we'll just kind of go through a little project. So let me get comfortable and share my screen. All right, here we go. Let's see, what does that look like? Ooh, don't like that. This particular layout is what we're going to keep with. So I have this site here, and this is just like a completely fresh install where I created post titles and pages for what I could easily see on the front page of this website. And the website itself is normally homechoicehomeinspection.com. And I created a local site just so I can play with this theoretically, so it'd be faster, but it's going kind of slow right now. So as usual, you'll have to bear with me if it goes slow. Here is the live site. And we're going to copy paste a lot of this content and just kind of rearrange it with Baked and Branded. But just to get us started, I'm going to go into the dashboard, and this is a fresh install, so there's almost no options here. All I've done is install the theme and plugins that are standard with the Baked and Branded bundle that I thought would be used on this site. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Baked and Branded. I'm going to have to license this. So we'll use this on our little test site. I always turn off these. You don't have to turn off anything, but in my head, I do. It's second nature to me. Plugins, I'm going to activate all of these. Hopefully they'll actually activate. Good news, sometimes something will stop other plugins from activating, and you have to go through and tell the rest of them to activate. But we need unlimited. This is our plugin membership, and we're going to go through and activate all of these. So I'm just opening all of these in a new tab so I can go through them quickly and license them. Actually, I think if you do it this quickly, they don't save the license properly, so I'm going to slow down. Trying to make sure that this page is reloaded before I'm activating. I'm scowling because I don't think I'm succeeding. I'm lacking patience. In my head, I'm telling myself to do it. But in actuality, I am not. Let's close a bunch of these. Hold. Okay, I guess I activated creator, but not baked and branded. So I need to come in here and get a license for baked and branded. And there's a definite possibility this license doesn't work. Yeah, that's probably what happened. Okay, so I'm gonna go grab a license, log in as a buyer. Oh, I'm actually logged in because I was doing some videos earlier today. So licensing for baked and branded, I'll copy that license key and activate. Okay, let's check it out. Cool, so it's like all our filler content we need to go through and make updates. I'm going to do the header and footer because I know that'll make the biggest impact like off the bat. And whenever I launch a site, this is like what I would normally work on first usually, is because I know this is going to impact the navigation for like all clients, right? So I would come in here and I would change these links, these, and then what's in the footer. Because while I probably want the homepage to be pretty immediately, in actuality, they're probably going to be on posts. And if this navigation is messed up, they're never going to get to the homepage. So I don't want to edit any of the design yet. I just want to update the content. Let's see, what do we have? I'm going to limit it to about 4. We're going to do home, about, services, and contact. Home, about, services, and contact. So this should be home, about. It is a little easier for me to find the content I'm looking for because this site, my brand new site, doesn't have a lot of content. When you're looking through things, it might take longer for you just because you're having more posts and pages and categories match it. Okay, in here, I don't want to do like a big, I really want to stick with the baked and branded like ideology of not having drop downs from the research we've done that shows that people are not opening those. So instead, I'm going to have my secondary navigation link to these different services that are offered. So clicking services would take you to a page that links to these, but I'm also going to add home inspection, mobile home. I'm going to do mobile homes for now. Pre-listing, 4-point, Florida Citizens roof, wind mitigation. You can't see, but I am using capitals because I'm probably going to undo that lowercase. We need thermal and sewer. So thermal, that's imaging, right? And then sewer scope. Let's do homes, mobile homes, pre-listing 4-point. Florida. That was not capital. Oh, yeah. Florida Citizens, wind mitigation. Okay. Oh, there's still a little bit of scroll there, which I don't love, but let's start with that. Here in the footer, I think I'm just going to remove all of these for now. So I'm going to delete that whole section, and then same with this sign up. I might leave this one for now. Let's leave that one. So I've got the separator. I'm going to add margin bottom for the spacing. And then here, what are my other page choices? I think I'm just still going to make these about and contact me. About, contact. Do we have social? I don't think we do. So we need to delete this whole social icons block. Should be contact us, making sure those are capitalized. Save. Okay, so let's look at the front page. We don't have a front page, but we can at least see like the header footer that I've updated. So I still need to set the logo. We do, however, have an actual navigation right here, our search bar, which I'm not sure is important on this site. We could probably remove that search, but I need to see how that impacts mobile. Our links to the individual services, which I did not actually update. I'm looking at the bottom left and I can see they're linking to those all recipes. I am so guilty of doing that. So I updated the actual text, but I want this to link to the actual page that's relevant. So I'm going to go through and do that real quick. I've already created these pages. They're all empty, but I knew that one of the first things I wanted to do was update the navigation, and that it would be boring enough to watch this and you didn't need to watch page creation as well. Oops, thermal imaging and then sewer scope. Okay, save that. Look at the home page. Perfect. Looks much better. So yeah, you can see if I click into it, it's not actually taking me to content, but I am going to the page. Excellent. So next up, I'm going to go into my settings and I'm going to close these notifications because they drive me crazy. Inside of settings general, I want to set my site icon, and then we'll go to reading afterwards and we will set the home page and the blog page. So for the site icon, I'm just going to reuse this logo. So I need to save this logo, save image as, and I'm going to upload from my downloads folder this logo. Beautiful there. Click save. I can see my favicon changed. Go to reading. My home page is going to use home and posts will use blog. Blog pages show at most. We do rows of 4, I believe, in most locations across the site. So we want this to be some multiple of 4. So I could do 8 or 12. Actually, he's only got 5 posts, but I'm going to go ahead and update this just because I'm thinking about it. And I don't think I want to update any of these other things right now. Okay. So let's go back to the home page. Let's set this logo now that we have the image. So I'm going to go to Edit Site. And these are the exact same because the image was already square. But because it's the favicon, it makes you crop it to a very specific size. So I'll just use this original one. And then the site logo, I'm going to make it a little smaller because it's square and not like landscape. I'm probably going to have to make it quite a bit smaller so it doesn't seem super tall. So let's go with 100. And then again, open up and view that on the home page. Excellent. Great. So the next thing I want to do is colors. A little bit of fonts, and then we'll at least build out this home page. So I think we should have time to do all of that. And then depending on where we're at, we will probably wrap up. So initial setup and launch, pretty good so far, but it's very pink and very girly. So I'm going to go into styles. Let me just close out of that little pop-up. And I'm going to change things out. First of all, we have fonts here, but I don't want that accent font. So I'm going to remove that one. The body font is normal. We have headers. I don't think I want any of these. I'm going to disable all of these fonts. And it's just using, well, let me see what our body font is real quick. I'm going to refresh so you can see these fonts did change a little bit. I want to see what we used for the body font. Did we use a custom font? No, this is our system font. That's what I want to use everywhere. The site already has, I mean, this is probably Arial or Tahoma, right? But I don't think font's going to be a super big thing for this site, so I can just cut out the loading time of custom fonts, use regular fonts, and just stylize them a little bit. So going in here, we kept our body font. I'm going to go in and set the different elements for my fonts. So like basically if I'm looking at the styles panel, I'm going to try and go top down from like most generic to more specific. So inside of typography, links, this is, remember, this is only the typography. Links will also have color elements to them, but let's see. Let's reset all of that. I think letter spacing, is it one of these? Yeah, this one has some letter spacing. We're going to remove that. I think I just started saying something and then didn't finish my thought. All right, how do I like that? That's good for now. Headings, captions, I don't want to do anything fancy there. Buttons, I almost want to do extra small on these. And then I bet this is through the buttons block, but I wonder if I can get it to do, no, because the buttons block has something different. So let's just do extra small. This is overwritten in that one place. Got it. I'm trying to find, there's a style guide that like lets you see all style book. This is what I want. And here I can see my buttons, how they'd be default. So let me see. Oh, that's why. There we go. Maybe like that. Okay, now let's go into colors. Edit this palette. And I'm not going to make my life very easy, I'm going to keep with kind of the contrast that would be available with these colors. So like this is a dark color that's going to work best with white. This is a light one that's going to work best with black. I'm not going to go through and like pick out a fancy color palette, but I am going to change these while keeping in mind what's going to contrast with them. That way I can do the little, like the fewest edits to the theme blocks while keeping all of like the hover transitions as expected. So contrast, let's make this just like a little light. I don't know why, just because we can. I want this to be like kind of a grayish blue for the base, a little more on the gray side. Okay, for my primary color, I'm gonna pull the blue from this logo. So image, you can see I use imagecolorpicker.com a lot. And then this blue is the one I want as my primary color. After that, for primary alt, I'm going to do the same color and then just choose a much lighter version of it. And then, you know what? I'm so extra. I think I'm going to pull this color up and go to color hacks. This is my favorite one because I like that it makes the background this color. And we'll choose a complementary color here. I don't like brown. We might do green or red. The use of two different blues is kind of nice. What are our other options? Those are our options. So I said I don't like brown, but I think I might like the brown. Okay. Even though I'm going to pick this brown, I'm totally going to change it. It needs to be darker. Maybe more on the red side. Okay, I really like to dig a hole for myself and say, I don't like this brown, and then immediately choose that brown. I'm trying to find a secondary version of this that is not too red. Okay, and then these are grays. I'm kind of tempted to make them like a hint of blue. Nah, okay, I'm gonna reset this one. How do I do that? Look, you cannot reset a single color. Oh well, close enough. Do I like these? What if I made this one a little more blue? Ooh, I maybe like that. Okay, we did make it blue. They're like bluish grays, right? Let's save and see where we're at with this. That's a definite difference. I'm not sure I like the background color on this site because I feel like I want to keep something of this aesthetic. But that's getting way into design stuff, so I'm going to move on. We'll close this, come back to my editor. We've done colors. I'm not going to change the background. I don't need to edit shadows or layout. So let's go into, actually, let's do this. Let's edit this home page, set the template to landing no page title right here, and then insert the starter pattern for their home page. So now I can see what everything looks like with my colors because it's a lot more like in your face, right? And then kind of like you can see because I removed this font, this is just looks a little bit plain and I could go in and customize those things. Obviously this still looks very feminine as is, but we don't need all this content. So we're gonna, I think, adjust things on the fly. And then I'll show you what I would do after that as well. Real quick before we do that, I do want to look through some of these blocks that get used really often. Header, paragraph, buttons, button, singular, and maybe that's it. I just want to check. So there's nothing customized for the paragraph. That's pulling completely from typography. Same for the heading, so I'm happy with that. Our button is also good. And what about buttons? Okay, so none of these have styles that I need to overwrite. I can if I want something to happen everywhere, but I think we'll move on instead. So what I want to do is close out of that template editor. We had already saved everything. I'm going to edit this page, and I don't want to keep all of this content. Actually, what I want to do, I think, is go to this home page and then put in the most important information from this home page. So for instance, I think the contact information being this high up in the sidebar, super nice. We don't have a sidebar on this homepage, so I need to get that information to be everywhere, but also really high on the homepage. So let's start with this. And I'm going to put this on my homepage. Oops. Right underneath this first bar. Oops. I'm sorry. I want you to be underneath. There we go. We're going to have to style that. Don't ask me how we're going to do it yet. I'm not sure. Let's save it. And then I also want to edit site because I forgot about this in the footer here. And this is where I'm going to put all this contact information. Let me see if we have a picture here. Beautiful. Let's save that. And upload it. And then can I pull text from here? That's the text I need to make sure that I want this to appear on every single page. And since not every single page has a sidebar still, I'm going to add it here. And then I think I'm going to make the title text. Family owned and operated, serving Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough. I really wish I could fit this on one line. Okay, fine. Counties. I'll have 2 lines. Save. Beautiful. And then on my home page, let's do something very similar, maybe with this one right here. I think what we'll do is like a title. These can be some of the inspections. I do believe there's 8, so we'll rearrange it to do inspections. This will be the contact information. And then we'll change out, we don't need a lot of this content-based items here. We'll need to do more text-based content. So here, let me copy that and put it in here. Contact us. get in touch. I can see this is set to lowercase. I'm going to change that. We have our new bio image, and we don't need a form right here. Elsewhere on the site, we would have a form. We're not going to do that today. We're just kind of showing how quickly we can change these things out. We go back to the home page, and let's make this the title. I don't want a link there. I'm just going to go directly into this. Ooh, I don't want all uppercase. Home Choice Home Inspection LLC. We do want this contact information higher. Let's put it in this bar. Underneath this row, we're going to do contact us today. Let's put this in another row. This image is giant. Make it 150. No, we're gonna have to put that somewhere else. Let's just center this. Ungroup it from the row. Beautiful. I don't know why I updated that to different formatting. Okay, we have quite a few CTAs here. I think it is important we keep those, but I really want to redo a lot of how this is formatted. So first, let me see if I'm going to keep any of this content. Okay, we will do the bio with logos, separator, we don't need this. Ooh, that video is good. Ooh, maybe I'll keep those testimonials as well. And do I need the call out? Maybe. Okay, I'm gonna try and throw content in here. Actually, let's just restyle it because you don't wanna watch me put content in here. Even for this, I don't have images for the items. So maybe I need to get rid of that as well. Okay, let's imagine it's gonna look something like this. We've got our call to action at the top, like our title and give us a call. We're gonna do a bio with some services in here, and then we're gonna do a couple logos because there are a lot of logos on the homepage. So we're gonna pull some of those in, maybe just like 3. Underneath, we'll have our contact information. We do have that video that's on the homepage up here. We'll keep this video. And then there's a different page for testimonials, but I think we could throw those here and it would look pretty good. Finally, we have another call to action here. We'll have to restyle this quite a bit, of course, but that will be more of these like book your inspection type of information. We're probably missing some stuff, but we'll work on that. I do actually like, I think, this blue color up high. Let me save this and view the page for you. So I feel like I actually like this bit of color right here. I could maybe do something darker, but I think this one looks pretty good. But underneath, I want to change a lot of these colors and pull out like a lot of the color and make it feel more professional and less colorful. So I'm going to remove the color from that icon. Even for these buttons, I want to make the buttons, I think I want to make them white on black. So come over here and paste that. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to paste styles because I'd have to restart everything, which is very sad. We don't have social, so I can go ahead and just delete those instead of restyling them. These logos, we're gonna replace them, but they're not gonna have the duotone coloring on them. So these ones use duotone to make them look like they're all the same color. We're gonna just let them be whatever color they are naturally. I think I want to get rid of the rounded corners on this particular site. So actually, I don't even need to set that to 0. I can reset the radius and it will remove it. Same with images. Reset that radius, and it also removed the shadow. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go plain here. Same with this one. We are going to keep a background color. Maybe this light gray. And then I don't want to do the polls on this site. So let me find out where that's coming from and remove that class. Ooh, even this, I forgot that it had that lowercase. Where's that set? Here we go. Let's reset that and then do it from scratch. I want extra small, uppercase, 0.1 M, needs to be bold. Okay, you know the problem with this actually is that one, it looks sort of like a button, and two, I feel like it's just so decorative and unnecessary. I don't know why I kept it. I just wanted to say contact us. That's much easier. I'm going to get rid of this border radius again. Sorry, this screen is right behind my camera. But I might add borders to all of my images because I'm a little bit extra. So let's add like a, oops, either 4 or 8. Let's do a 4 pixel border. And then same for this one, 4 pixels. Do I want these to be colorful? So extra of you, Lauren. Let's do that. So I made it a light gray color. This one I'm going to choose a little bit of opacity. So it's also going to look kind of like a different kind of light gray color. All right, I'm not going to need the separator anymore, so I can get rid of that. Now on YouTube, we're going to remove the background from this, so we don't need any of that padding anymore. I will add some margin to the top. And then, you know what? I left these button text like this, but I don't like it. Yeah. We'll probably get rid of at least one of those arrows. I don't need to worry about it right now. Let's go back to this one. So black. There we go. Follow us on YouTube. Let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty nice here. Remove. And there is a little circle here in this group. Let me see if we want to add a shadow to it. Nope. I can't decide if I want to get rid of it or not. I left this one here forgetting that it's all a little decorative and maybe unprofessional. So let's get rid of that here. I'm going to just change. I really wish I had fixed this for you guys so that I could copy paste the styles. But instead, you will hear me click more. And let's see. Can I just remove that image for now? Yeah. Okay, let me see what I want to do with this. Let me look at this page now. Definitely more full width. This text doesn't like fill up there, kind of kills me. Ooh, because I removed the images. All right, let me undo the image removal. I might do a border around these and remove the drop shadow. I don't think there's any border radius on that. There is a drop shadow on these buttons. I think I'm going to keep that form of drop shadow. And then I need to change this. Oh, you know, I need to change this as well. So let's go to Edit Site. Let Lauren get distracted for a moment. Click into there multiple times and add a border. So I'm going to reset this radius. My border will be this gray color. I don't like this either. Yeah. I don't like this is pulled out. And depending on the content, I do potentially want to keep this one blue because I do feel like this is a really strong call out, but I'll restyle it still. It's a little hard for me to picture it without having content in there. I would agree that I'm very visual. This text looks like a weird color to me. This one is just bold, that's why. Okay, that's fine. Okay, what was I doing? I wanted to remove the pull from this, which is usually going to be a class, possibly on this column. Okay. That's on the inside now. Let's just change this formatting so that the spacing along the top and the bottom of this image is nicer. Beautiful. And then I'm going to change these images to look more like the style I'm trying to go with the images on this site, and then redo this section. Haven't decided if I want to remove, we'll come to that in a second. Oh, should we do this real quick? We should do these. Okay, so for this, I want to remove the typography and have it be more like our other buttons, but I am going to keep a background on there. And I think I'm going to even keep it this little like light blue color. I kind of like this one, but it's too dark, so let's stick with this one. Here, reset all of our typography, click save, close that. Okay, for this one, with a circular image, you can't always get the border. Okay, cool. So we were able to get a border here that is the way we want it. I may not even keep this as circular. Let's do kind of a whole different layout for this. Remove that, re-add the padding to the top, and then go into here. I've been having problems where I can't like shift select items visually, so I need to actually go into this document overview to do them. Okay. The spacing needs to be fixed. Block spacing 3, and this one needs block spacing of basically nothing. Let's do 3. Okay, so I'm just going to duplicate that and then copy paste this text in here. I'm not going to update the images because they don't matter. But then that way they have the little bit of variation that I think is helpful. You can see these stars are going onto 2 lines for smaller screens. It looks good on desktop. But on mobile, we're probably going to have to say allow it to wrap. So it'll still be stacked for people that are on smaller screens. This screen size right here is probably like a small laptop or maybe a tablet. So this would also be a case where it would look like this on some screens. So with that in mind, we are going to make sure that these rows are centered so that it looks okay if it ends up stacked like this. Save. And then it still looks pretty much the same on desktop. I don't like it. I don't know if you guys do. I don't like the drop shadow. Okay, I feel like that's a little more interesting. Like we're still keeping the essence of the block, but it doesn't look quite as feminine to me. I think we could make it even more masculine if we removed the background and we did like a border here instead. So maybe something like that. Oh, we've got margin top on this. Where do we have margin top? Margin. Every time I have to copy paste these, I'm losing a little bit more of the content because I'm getting lazier. Yeah, I like this more. This image is way too big, especially without us having content up there. Not having, like me having pulled the content over. But let's make that smaller. This one larger. That already works better. And then last but not least, I'm going to do this right here. I said I want to keep this because I feel like it's a nice blue call out, but I definitely need to change some aspects of it. Let's see. We're not going to keep the pre-title. We've done away with that everywhere. We want our button to be closer to all of our other buttons, so it looks very familiar. Our images do not need radius. We might keep the shadow on this one because I think I'm going to keep the pull on it. Maybe that. And then this here is just like a lot. Let me see what it looks like on the front end right now. I'm not sure that I like this background at all. I might just want to stylize this, and it would be like schedule, what would it be? Book your inspection now. Let's do that. So book your inspection now, and then I'm going to change how this is formatting. I'm going to just reset it and start from scratch. Much smaller. I'm just turning everything on. 0.1M. What if I just do book now and then I keep it larger? I kind of like that. I really want to put a little embellishment at the top and bottom, but I will not. Last but not least, I do want to remove the rounded corners, but I might want to make this full width. I think this would look good. Does it need to be this one? Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay. This is essentially what I would do. I would get even more in depth than this, and I would fill out more of this content. But just for the purpose of doing this live with you guys and showing you how quickly we can do this, I feel like we went from a very, we just installed it, activated it. It's very usable the way it is right now. I will show you one more thing that I think is pretty critical when you're doing a pretty big overhaul visually, like this. But I won't make you go through like replacing the content and getting into more of the details of like borders and stuff like that with me. But I feel like we like changed out the colors. We made it look more masculine, just removing some content, but like adding some in as well, like adding in these borders to give it kind of its own little like visual oomph, which is something really easy to just apply wherever we were looking. And I left the shadow on this. Yeah, I think this is pretty good. Okay, so here's what I would do for a site like this, where we've changed out all of the colors, we've changed out the fonts, and we're removing things like embellishments and adding things like borders, right? This is the big thing, and this is the most tedious. I did this for a client recently, and I think I spent about 4 hours doing it. And you guys know how fast I click. So it's not a one-night thing, but I think part of that is because there's so many blocks. So if you're willing to not use every single block that's available, you can save yourself a little time. This is what I did. I went in and I inserted every single block that was available. It is a little, like, it will slow down your site if you have too many. So I might just do like one page. Okay, so there's 3 pages. I would just do this one page, save this draft. I came in here and I made the block look the way I would want it to look. So like for this one right here, I would go in and do the changes we had done on the homepage. I would have started here to make my life easier. But I will make all of the changes and then I will come in here and click create pattern. And then actually the way I do it is I do all the blocks and then I come in, feature call out, rename, I click copy and then escape. So that when I create my pattern, it has the exact same name and I put it in the same group it came from. Make sure you turn off synced and click add. And then once I did that for all of my patterns, I went into the manage available patterns plugin and I deactivated anything I had replaced. So for this one, feature call out, the ones that I've created won't show up here. These are only patterns that have been added by other themes or plugins. So I turned that off, save changes. And then when you're going in to insert that pattern, in here, when I search for this pattern, there's only the one. And previously we would have had the one that I saved for like in my database and then the one that was part of the theme. I really should have changed it so we could visually tell, but I promise you it's working. So that's the big thing. If you're actually going to go in and make big changes to all of these blocks, I would do it to every pattern that you think you're going to use and then deactivate all the ones you have replaced. That's my personal opinion. It'll, I think, save you a lot more time down the road, even though it will be a little bit of a pain at the beginning. So anyway, I hope this was kind of insightful for you guys and makes a good rewatch. If you have any questions, you can always find me at Once Coupled, Creator Themes, smallplugins.com. Those were 3 different sites, not one site. Just assume the .com on the first 2. All right, bye guys.